Finishing your stable and taming a horse is the crowning moment for an advanced player in Grimsoul Survival. The horse allows you to have more inventory space, travel faster, travel to new locations, and eventually you will be able to fight while we're still on our horses. In this video, I'm going to tell you where to get each of the materials needed to finish your stables, how to tame a horse, and how to level it up. The easiest item on the list is the 5 ragged sacks. You can craft them very inexpensively from as early as level 3, and you can also find them from killing AI players. Candles and copper shards are the second easiest thing to find. They are in the chests of every zone in the game. If you need more candles and copper shards, then you are probably very new to the game and should spend most of your time farming the One Skull zones. You will get tons of these 2 resources after farming those zones a few times. Cords and chains are similar in that they are common items, but they are much more difficult to find. The best way to get lots of cords and chains is to search the chest in the 3 skull zones. This is harder to do, but it should not be too difficult for an intermediate level player. If you are having trouble farming any of the zones, I have made a playlist full of tutorials on the most efficient way to farm each of the zones. I would strongly encourage you to check those out. I found my saddle in a 3 skull zone, but that was before the Forsaken Dungeon existed. Nowadays, it is much easier to find a saddle in the final chest of the first floor of the Forsaken Dungeon. You can also find the feeding trough in the first level of the dungeon, but the best place to find the feeding trough, and the only place that you can find the bridle, is in the final chest of the second floor of the Forsaken Dungeon. It will take you a few times to find these items, but one thing that I love about Grimsoul Survival is that the devs have set up their RNG system to where you will never spend months and months looking for one item. That being said, I will warn you that the Forsaken Dungeon is a significant challenge that costs a lot of resources. If you did not know this already, Grimsoul Survival is a hardcore game and it is not meant for the lighthearted. I have lots of tutorials about the dungeon and its gatekeeper which can help you in this challenge, but even with help, it will still require you to challenge yourself, which I would argue is a reward in and of itself. But if you're not into that, you will probably never get the horse in this game. Once your stable is finished, it will unlock the option for you to tame the horse at the Broken Cart event. You will probably not be successful the first time you do it, but the chances are pretty high that you will succeed by your 3rd or 4th attempt. If you are an active player in the game and keep your energy below 60, it is possible to summon the Broken Cart event up to 2 times per day. So this whole process for an active player shouldn't take more than 2 days. Once your horse is tamed, you now have a level 1 horse that you can name and keep forever. The level 1 horse has 2 inventory slots which can increase as you level it up, and a spot for feeding it oats. The best way to get oats is, again, the Forsaken Dungeon. Traveling with the horse consumes these oats and levels it up automatically. Unlike the Last Day on Earth motorcycle, you cannot travel with your horse without consuming materials. If you try to do that as you travel away from your home, your horse will just stay home. But more importantly, if you travel to a location with your horse and then walk or run home, you are essentially leaving your horse at that location. Fortunately, your horse is trained to go back home, but unfortunately, being left by its owner is a traumatic experience for your horse, causing it to consume 50% more oats, which I imagine that's because it has trouble finding its way home, and it doesn't get any experience towards leveling up. So don't leave your horse at another location. Leveling up your horse is important because not only does it give you more inventory slots, but once you level it up to level 15, it unlocks the Northern Lands, which is the best place to get birch and iron. And then this is not in the game yet, but when we are able to level up our horse to level 20, we will be able to ride it in zones and fight while riding it, which is gonna be awesome. Trust me, Last Standard just came out with their update letting you ride motorcycles in zones, and it is a lot of fun. But Grimsoul Survival has plans to let us actually fight from our horse, which is gonna be really epic. Well, that's it guys, hope that helps. I'm gonna be farming for a lot of birch and iron over the next few days, trying to come up with the most efficient way to gather those resources, which is actually going to be a little tricky because I have to factor in the cost of oats since you need your horse to get to those new locations. So you can be on the lookout for those videos coming out. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.